Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 3 p.m. here in Chicago, Illinois. That means it's time for another live stream. Today is March 1st. We're already into March. It's a weird kind of emotional space to be in March in 2021, I think, but it is a Monday, which means it's time for a Monday mukbang. Today, I've got swag from the Chicago Shamrock Shuffle 8K that I've been training for, getting ready for a virtual event. Normally there's a full-on expo and everything like that. It's usually a giant event. This year it's virtual, so they sent a package to all the participants. I got the race t-shirt. I got a whole bunch of other kind of ads and cards and discount codes and stuff. But they also sent this year this little it's a mini fanny pack. It's not a full-size fanny pack. It's a mini one, which actually I think makes it much more suited for running, although it's not the most premium of materials, I would say. But definitely could fit like a phone and some gels and keys and that kind of stuff in here. So I'm kind of really liking that. I think the girls are really going to love having it. I think it's a perfect size for kids to have. And there was some snacks inside. So I thought I've not had these, at least flavors of these snacks before. So I thought I'd give them a try for today's Monday mukbang. Before I get into that, let's say hi to everyone listening on the podcast version. Hope you guys are having a good run or a good commute or just getting some work done. And everyone watching this on YouTube, probably putting it on in the background while you're listening to it. Welcome, everybody. Hope you're having a great day. All right. Let's say hi to everyone who's here today. Jana's here, says, hi, everyone. Hope you're having a great day. What's going on? Terrence says, hello, all. And Terrence says, I'm watching yesterday's live stream with Ben. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that one. It was great to have him on. I felt, Ben Parks for me has always felt like kind of like this other guy, like a different tier up from me for sure, on just so many levels. But I felt like I connected with him. I felt like I got the connection. Hopefully that came across, but I felt like I related to him quite a bit. And it was just great to kind of meet a person, not face-to-face literally, but kind of face-to-face. So that was very cool. That was very special. And, just one of the fantastic kind of unintended consequences of everything that's been going on. But, a silver lining. For sure. Josh is here, says, what up, Cohen fam? What live stream service do you use? It's a stream service called StreamYard. And I was using the free version for a while, but that limits like your bandwidth, like the resolution of the stream. And it also puts some branding of theirs in this corner. And it caps you in terms of hours. For most people, they could probably get away with using the free tier. And I think it'd be fine. But I was doing so many live streams that I was bumping against the monthly maximum for the free tier. So I bumped up to the paid. So I'm at the first, I think there's one or two paid tiers. I'm at the first paid tier. But I've overall been, I think it's expensive. It's really expensive if you think about it on a year-long commitment. But I think it's been worth it. It's just so easy for me to use. So I really like it. And I get the comments to show up. So I'm a big fan of that. Josh also had a pretty good showing. Really good showing. I'm looking forward to some more of the videos, the race recaps to come from the race in Greenville. So I'm very excited for that. All right. Philip says, good day, everyone. Slow 5K recovery run today. Probably the same for the rest of the week. Bit sore from February, but notice the Endorphin Rainbow is a really, really quiet shoe. Is it? Yeah. I was running on dirt roads, so it's hard to tell if a shoe's quiet on dirt roads, I think, when I ran in that shoe. But yeah, awesome. Very cool. Steven Gersdorf missed yesterday. It was fun. It was definitely a lot of fun. I enjoyed that one. Not really. Hank Aaron says, watch the Sage Candidate Cheat Day video. It's very gross. Is it? I think I just watched that. I'm trying to think. Was it gross? I don't remember it particularly being gross. All right. Philip says also, I retired my SL20 version 1 today at a high mileage, something like 10K. Didn't really like to run in them. Okay. Great casual shoe, though. Might come in handy when I have to catch Laura the dog at some point. All right. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. And it's not, I guess I could definitely see why some people wouldn't like to run in them because it is a bit firm and awkward at certain speeds, depending on what you need to get out of the shoe. So, it's okay. It's okay not to love it. And it says, hi, Kofuzi and everyone. A nice sunset run with Pip after work. Good live stream yesterday. Ben came across as a really nice guy and a bit more shy than I expected. Good on him for doing it. Yeah. And I envision that, it's probably something he necessarily probably didn't want to do. I feel like I'm very much the same way. And when he was telling us yesterday that, like even when it comes to just like ordering takeout or ordering at the restaurant, he doesn't really want to speak up. I totally do the same thing. Like I always want my wife to do it. Like to do all the ordering. I'd rather just not talk to people. I used to have a paralyzing fear of it when I was much younger, like my daughter's age, to the point where like my dad was like, he would take us to McDonald's frequently on the weekends. And he would say, you cannot eat if you don't order your own food. And so I would have like a mini temper tantrum because I was like, I don't want to talk to the person. And they're like, just tell them you want a Happy Meal. You'll be fine. And it was like, I didn't want to do it. But I can relate to a lot. I'm not saying that he has that same experience, but, I can relate to the not like wanting to talk to people and sometimes, but also like, getting nudged by the significant other in his life to try and engage in those kinds of conversations. And so, I never really pictured him as being a very shy person. Not that I think he's like a shy guy, but I felt in a very much a way that I can totally relate to. So that was an interesting revelation, I think. All right. Sarah says, hi all, was a bit surprised in the SJD Invincible review and how much he emphasized the bounciness of the midsole. Other reviews say it does well at a faster pace, but didn't focus on bounce so much. Yeah, I just saw that he put that up there. I haven't had a chance to look at that one yet. He has the white one, which I think is, that shoe does not look pretty, but that white one with like the yellow and blue, I feel like that's one of the worst colors of it. So I'm just like, cool. But it'll be interesting to see what he thinks because he is a much faster person. He's probably the fastest person that I know that's running it. So it'll be interesting to see his take on it. Chris Yao says, hi, everyone. Had a nice 3.5 miles in the Miami 87 degrees Fahrenheit oven today. Already need another shower. Ooh, that's hot. Here, Chicago is a cold day today. It's a beautiful day. Cloudless sky. Really nice. It was a little bit windy and a little bit overcast until the sunrise hit today. And then we had a beautiful sunrise. But it was chilly. I had icicles in my hair, which was really weird. So I ran with a winter hat on and a mask. I didn't go with the full neck gaiter. And whatever way, like the moisture was coming out, like hair, like ice was accumulating in my hair back here. It was weird. I gotta figure something else about it. I did order a whole bunch of like men's headbands for men that have longer hair. They should be arriving today. So some experiments, some testing will be happening in the next couple of days. All right. And Steven says the SJD didn't like the Vomeros. I saw his Vomero 15 video. I wonder how he got that. Because I didn't think that they were available in the US, but I haven't had a chance to look at that one yet either. I'm way behind on his videos. But yeah, I gotta check that out, see what he thinks of it. But I'm also like, I'm on the fence because I'm like, I'm pretty sure the Vomero 16 is not going to change all that much. So I'm like, I'm kind of maybe holding off, but maybe I'll take a look at it. We'll see. All right. Mark says, I pronate my left foot and land on the left side of it. Will that hurt or cause problems on my knee? Will stability shoes help? Thank you. Yeah, I kind of land on I land on the outside part of the foot. What I've noticed is when I run, especially when I try to run fast, my feet don't look like this. My feet look like a guy that's flicking his feet up in front of him, just like trying to like throw the feet in front. And then when they look like, when I look at it very closely, like on video, it looks like the foot is coming in crooked, and then at the last second lands kind of flat. So that looks like it's slapping down, and I guess it kind of is, but it like looks like they're coming in this way, like tilted, and then they kind of land more flat. So sometimes I end up landing a little bit on the outside because maybe that rotation happens a little bit late on a couple of strides. I don't know if it'll cause problems on the knee. I personally don't think that people should mess too much with their natural gait, because I feel like whatever your body's got going on, your body has a pretty good way of optimizing what it needs to do. I'm out of focus. Your body has a pretty good idea of like figuring out how to optimize what it needs to do for your specific makeup. But that being said, I think that the best thing to do to avoid that would be any potential problems is to make sure that you're not developing any muscle imbalances, or to the extent that maybe you think your gait is not perfect, that there isn't a lot of compensatory stuff happening. I think that's when things start to go awry, right? So like, for example, let's use glute activation. If your glutes aren't activating, then it causes other muscles to have to work a little bit harder. And then that puts extra strain on them. And so then it's just kind of like you're overloading something else and underutilizing the things you're supposed to be using. And that's, I think, where like the potential for injury happens. Will stability shoes help? I'm not sure about that. A guide rail like system, I think, will probably be better than like a traditional stability shoe that has like different areas of stiffer foam. So that might be something that I would look at. But I don't know. I feel like for a lot of people with stability shoes, like unless it's a very serious problem, like if I always kind of am like, if you're not sure if you need a stability shoe, then you probably don't, is my general take on it. And I know I'm kind of anti-stability shoe, and that might be part of it, but that's kind of where I'm at on that. All right, let's scroll down. There was one more that I saw. Oh, it's from Leona. This is the one that I saw early when I logged on, and then we'll scroll down to the bottom and we'll start the snacks. Luna says, "Hi, co-fam. Sarah Place thinks we are, in quotes, like a lovely little family," which was her reply to a Strava comment thanking her and Ben for yesterday. And Leona says, "Thanks, Mike. By the way, I think this is live stream." She thinks this is live stream 300. It might be. I think this is live stream 300. I'm not sure. I could have counted it wrong. Very likely that I did. So, but it's somewhere around we're somewhere around 300, which is a crazy number. I'm having a hard time believing that. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be reaching out to Sarah and trying to find a time where we can meet. I don't want to do it. I mean, I'm trying to think, do I do it really close to when I've just talked to Ben? Maybe like try to get her on for next week or something? Or do I like wait, a longer time, maybe try to catch her after her next race or something? I got to think about that, but I definitely want to be able to talk to her as well. And just because I think it's very interesting when there's like two YouTubers to kind of see like how that works, like I want to see some of like the kind of, I guess, more behind the scenes a little bit. I just find that very, very curious. But I also want to talk to her about her channel specifically too, because I think she's been having some really great success and growing very fast and deservedly so, because her content's great, her outlook and disposition is great. So hopefully I can talk to her soon. All right, let's get to some of these snacks for today. And someone was mentioning that it's a sugar day, and yeah, it's definitely a sugar day. And I'm kind of like dreading it. Like for the last hour, I was like, "Oh, I'm hungry. Oh, it's a Monday mukbang day. It'll be perfect." And then I was like looking at the flavors, and I was like, "Oh man," because here's the flavors. So we've got the Zone Perfect bar. I think I've had a Zone Perfect bar before. I'm still out of focus. I got to figure this out. I've had a Zone Perfect bar before, and I don't really remember them. I think my wife has bought them, but I'm pretty sure we haven't had this flavor. And it's just whatever came in my Shamrock Shuffle like swag bag thing. But the flavor is fruity cereal, and like it's the kind that has like the fake frosting like on it, like drizzled on it, and I'm just like, it's gonna taste like a Pop-Tart. I'm not gonna like this. So I don't know if I will. But then I was like, let's give it a shot. Here's some of the information on it. As far as macros, it says it's like 40% carbs, 30% protein, 30% fat. I like that. That seems like a good breakdown. I like that in kind of like a bar that I might eat after a run, which is normally when I'm looking to eat. I'm usually looking for like before a run or right after a run. That's when I like to eat bars. I did have one. I had a Go Macro bar earlier today as a snack. I generally don't like snack on them, but this one, it's 210 calories for the bar, 7 grams of fat, 21 grams of carbohydrate, and 15 grams of protein. So I feel like, all right, those numbers, okay, I like it. 15 grams of protein seems like a lot. So that's in here. So that's pretty cool. But then if you look at the back, like the ingredient list, I'm not a huge fan of that. Like that is a long ingredient list. And like the third ingredient is yogurt flavored coating that has lactitol, fractionated palm kernel oil, polydextrose, non-fat yogurt powder, calcium caseinate, titanium. I mean, I think it's like the yogurt kind of like drizzle that's on top. So, and as far as like manufacturing practices. It's manufactured in a facility that processes peanut and other tree nut ingredients, which I think they have like peanut butter flavored ones of these. So it's, not a huge surprise, but, trying to keep an eye out for some of the nut allergy people here. This one is not going to be safe for you guys. So we'll try that one. I'm not terribly optimistic about it. And then the flavor for the Gatorade Endurance, which I've had Gatorade Endurance before. I'm generally not a fan because it's really watery. But I think the last time I've had it was before I started taking Unived and before I started taking Science and Sport. And those are also very like liquidy gel. So I'm thinking maybe this will be a good one. It's got caffeine in it, 30 milligrams of caffeine, 20 grams of carbs. Let's see what's the salt. It's got only 90 milligrams of salt, which is not terribly low. Others have the same or less. And that's it. So fairly straightforward, but it's a strawberry flavor, which I feel like I would like strawberry Gatorade, but in a gel, I'm just so like not looking forward to eating any of these. So we'll have to see how it's going to go. All right. Yeah. My account says lactitol. Yeah. Josh says my house LOL. Yeah. So I know that there are others that are better. There's probably ones that I like to eat a lot more that have like less or that have even more complicated ingredients than this one. So maybe I'm just picking on it because I'm in a hungry mood and I want something like a little bit more savory and I'm getting something fruity, but I'm going to try to have an open mind about this one. All right. So it's got this is like that yogurt stuff that's on it and it's completely coating the back. So I think it's going to be very sweet and it's fruity cereal flavored. So it smells like candy before I even tasted it. You finished the level?
In the forest.
Cool. All right, cool. My daughter's playing Harry Potter today on the Switch. A Lego Harry Potter. All right, this is very sweet. It's like Fruity Pebbles in a Rice Krispie treat. That's what I'm tasting. I think it might taste sweeter than like a Pop-Tart. Because Pop-Tarts to me just taste dry and flaky, like flavorless almost. This is very sweet. Very sweet. I mean, I'm hungry, so I'm going to eat it. But yeah. Fruity Pebbles cereal. I don't know if you guys have that in England or in Europe, but it's a Post cereal product, Flintstones branding, and it's just these like little tiny microflakes, cornflakes that are a hodgepodge of unnatural colors, and it's a very sweet cereal. And by the time you're done eating a bowl of it, the milk turns like a purplish pink color, and that's what this thing tastes like. It tastes like that. Ah. Mm-hmm. But yeah. But if you like sweet stuff, this is a good one. It's very sweet, I gotta tell you. Affluent Journey says, told you, too much sugar. Get Oat Mega. I'm not familiar with Oat Mega, but I'll take a look at that. I mean, I'm always looking for new runner snacks. I feel like it's a fun category just because it's a niche type of product. So it's something that's fun to eat on these Monday mukbangs. But yeah, these are not flavors I would have picked. And like the Zone, that's like a diet brand, right? Where does the Zone come from? Does anyone remember that? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, Martha says, funny it's yogurt. The amount of yogurt is probably almost nothing compared to the sugar and rest of the ingredients in the white stuff alone. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there is like yogurt cultures or something like that it's in there. That was one of the ingredients I listed off. But yeah. I mean, if I were to get this in like my drop bag, for a race, I might just leave it in there and just eat it afterwards, or if I got it like I was in the post race area and like a booth was giving these out, I would eat it and I'd be happy about it too. But yeah, very, very sugary, very sugary. All right. The Hoss Dog one says, I listened to an earlier pod where you said you didn't like sizing up for width because the size would perform as was expected in terms of ball of foot placement. What sizing do you think? There's another part of this. Yeah. The manufacturer actually makes the shoe for in terms of size. Do you think they provision in an extra half to full size up? Yeah, I'm not always sure like how they figured that out, because like, for example, if you look at a lot of Adidas running shoes, they will say that, like, this shoe runs small, so you should like get a bigger one. And I'm not sure who they're talking to when they say that. You know what I mean? So I feel like they're talking to people who maybe just buy like regular casual walking shoes and don't kind of like get like a running shoe size. I don't know. Like, people say like the running shoe size is a little bit bigger than like your casual shoe size. I get the same for everything. Although for dress shoes, I might be a 9. Sometimes I'm an 8.5. So I might go a little bit smaller with dress shoes. I don't know if it's because I'm always wearing much thinner socks, or I don't know. I don't know what it is, or if there's a vanity sizing in men's like loafers. But yeah, so like I'm not sure. I think that a lot of times like they're never intending, I don't think. It's not like vanity sizing exists. It's not like people are like, I'm normally a 9.5, but I love it when a brand puts me in a size 9. Like, I don't think people care about that for running shoes. But I just think that sometimes like they're like, we want this fit, we want it to be like, a racer type of a fit, very secure. These are the materials we've chosen. And then sometimes I feel like what happens is when people say like, yeah, this one you need to size up, or this one you don't need to size up, I think a lot of times what's going on, complete speculation, is that once they've done all that and they have their like prototype, their short run, and they're like, yep, good, approve, let's send it into mass production. Then when it comes back from mass production, something happens, something gets lost in the scale up that makes it fit not as great. That's kind of like my take on that. Yeah. All right. Josh says the other thing with Fruity Pebbles is afterwards you become diabetic. Is it a feature or a flaw? I'm not sure. It might be a little bit of both with that. I mean, that cereal, like, they are certainly like trying to like just load in as much sugar as possible, I think. All right. Jody's here, says good day. What's going on, Jody? Good to see you. And not where Hank Aaron said, it was Dr. Barry Sears that came up with the zone. I mean, it's been around for a while, right? I think. Running out says, Cole Haan dress shoes I have to size down. Me too. That's something that with Cole Haan shoes, I generally get an 8.5. Which is weird because for a while Cole Haan was owned by Nike. I do have a pair of Cole Haan shoes that have Nike Air in them. Or they were boots, or like kind of like a quarter boot kind of thing, men's quarter boot by Cole Haan that had Nike Air in the heel. And yeah, that one. I think I went true to size. No, did I size down? I can't remember if I did or not. I think I sized down. I think I went 8.5 with that one. Tal Nahama says, hey Mike, I got a new running shoes and a weird question popped in my mind. How do you keep your shoes smelling fresh? One of the ways that I would do it is to make sure they air out when you're done. So don't put them in a bag, don't put them back into like a box or a container. Like I mean, Asian household, so we leave a lot of the shoes by the door. I have so many shoes that we don't leave all of mine by the door, but I can leave like a pair of shoes by the door at a time. We have a small place, so there's not much room by the doorway. So like the shoes that I ran in that day usually like hang out by the door all day. And then the next day, like when I go, or usually by the evening when I'm setting out my shoes for the following day, I'll put those shoes that I wore away at that point. And the other thing is I rotate shoes. So like there was one time I went, I had a work trip right around the time the Peg 35s came out. And it was in the summertime because that's when the Pegs come out. And it was in New Jersey, which is a pretty humid place. Not extremely hot, but like heat plus humidity can be pretty swampy. I mean, we were down in the Princeton area for work, and that part of New Jersey used to be a swamp. And so some would say kind of still is, but I mean, it's swampy. And I was running in some water, and it was the only pair of shoes that I brought other than like my suits and my work clothes. And so like for the times that we were there, I would run in the morning. Sometimes my feet would get wet or they would just get sweaty, and the 35s were a hot shoe. And then I would take a shower and try to let the shoes air out. But then if we were working, some days we were suited up, some days we weren't. I would be back in the 35s, and that made the shoe smell really fast, which was a bit of a problem by the end of the work trip. So like that's something like you got to let them breathe, afterwards. And then someone else was saying something else. Someone else had Jana says, keep your shoes smelling fresh by trying not to smell the shoes. She says, I have no idea what my shoes smell like, and I don't want to know. Yeah, the other thing that you can do is I use sneaker balls. So sneaker balls are a product that I've been using since I was in high school. So I've been using this product since like the early 90s. And they used to sell, I think they still sell them at like Foot Locker. That might be like the only place you can get them, is places like that. And then in the pack, there's these two like little discs, basically air fresheners that are small spheres. And you can like slide them open and closed a little bit to let more or less air flow into them. And you put one in each shoe. And so that's something that you can do as well. So you're putting little like sneaker shaped or like small enough to fit inside a sneaker air freshener in it. Another product that I have is called like Odor Cleanse. It's like ODORKLENZ. It's basically like a I don't know if it's charcoal or just like a talc or what, but it absorbs odor, and you just sprinkle that powder inside. It makes your shoes a little bit powdery, but it just soaks up all the nasty smells really fast. So that's another product that I have as well, if you're running into that. But usually for me, like letting them air out and not wearing them multiple days, like a lot of time and giving it some rest, helps it keep from stinking too much. Yeah. Affluent Journey says, just make sure there's no brown stuff on the bottom. That's another way to take it too. All right. And Josh says his shoes never smell. I think you probably rotate your shoes a lot though, Josh, right? Jody says for his climbing shoes, he uses some shoe fresheners that are in the shape of bananas. That makes a lot more sense. I feel like my daughter has climbing shoes. She's over there, so I don't want to embarrass her. But I feel like climbing shoes stink. They're in the same category for me as spikes. Because I would always wear my spikes without socks. I'd go barefoot, in my socks. So those get to smell real fast. And what I would do with my spikes every once in a while is I would run them under the water in like a sink and just give them a scrub. You can use like a little bit of detergent or something like that if you want. But like when my spikes were smelly, they would look fine. I mean, they were just black spikes. But when I would run them under the sink when they were smelly, the water that came off of that was just dirt brown. Like, that's just absolutely foul. It's so disgusting. All right. Someone asked a question about, let's see. Chris Dyke wants to know, who's getting the Mach 4? I thought I was content with my current rotation for at least 6 months, but I can't resist the hype. I saw Emily Heller put out a video. I know that she's very excited about them. I haven't watched the video because I think I'm still getting a pair. I'm not sure where mine are, if they got lost. I was also supposed to get a shipment of buffs, but that never arrived either. I mean, I could buy them, but I thought someone was sending me some, but I should follow up. But I don't know. I think that if I really like my Carbon X2s, and I feel like the Mach 4, just by like looking at it, it's got a Profile X system in it. By the design, it kind of looks to me a lot like the Carbon X2. And I'm like, is this just a not carbon version of the Carbon X2? If so, it might be interesting if it's lighter than the Carbon X2. And it might make it the best marathon shoe that Hoka has. But then, I mean, the Rocket X still exists. So I'm not sure. I mean, they have a lot of shoes, right? Like clustered in that same, like very similar. You got like Rincon, Mach 4, Carbon X2, Rocket X. There's a lot of shoes in that same kind of area. So it's like getting kind of hard to differentiate them all. But the way I think Hoka's probably approaching it is, I don't think that they're anticipating that someone's going to buy all of those. You pick like the one or two that kind of really resonates with you, and they're all slightly different depending on what people are looking for. So it's interesting. All right, now let's see. I saw something about Jody says climbing shoes smell so bad. You have to make sure they get air. I climbed them to the outside of my bag. I think part of it is because they just get put into a climbing bag frequently. Is that all it is? I know. I think it's something with the material, and I just think that you're working your feet differently, and I just feel like your feet are sweating more when you're in climbing shoes. That's my hypothesis. I don't know. I never had put on climbing shoes before. I've never climbed before. All right. Someone had a question about the Carbon X2. I'm trying to find that one. Yeah, I don't see it. But let's get to this one. Matthew Cable here says, "Hey, Mike, fellow Chicago resident here. What's going on?" Says, "I'm interested in starting my own YouTube channel, running YouTube channel. Do you have any tips you wish you knew before you started on your own?" I mean, I kind of wish that, I think the main thing that if I could tell people, there's like kind of two things. I guess they're kind of related for people that are trying out. I mean, I have a lot of like general things that I like to tell people, but if you want me to like drill it down to just one, I think one is that the idea that everyone's like, the way to get more viewers is to make better content. I think that might be bad advice. I'm not saying make bad content, but I'm saying when you're starting out on YouTube, with some rare exceptions, most people, when they start on YouTube, are going to make very bad content. And I think that's necessary. I think that's part of the process. I think you have to figure that all out. And the blessing of not having a lot of subscribers or viewers or attention in the beginning, which is why I feel like it's really hard if you're a pro to tackle the idea of making a YouTube channel, is that if you're a pro and you just start making YouTube videos, people are going to watch. A lot of people are going to watch right away when you're very bad at making videos. Now you're a pro and people already kind of know you, so that's like fine. But if you're not a pro, then, and if a lot of people saw like some of my first videos, from then on, for a long time after that, when they saw like my name under the thumbnail, they'd probably be like, I've seen that guy before. It's not good. So take that time when people aren't watching your videos, when you got 8 views on a video and you feel like that's a good day, take that as a blessing. That's your chance to make a whole bunch of bad videos and make a lot of them. Don't wait. Don't try to make it better. Don't try to make it perfect. Make videos. Make a lot of them. Make a lot of bad ones. Then you'll get good at it. And then you'll get attention. And then when people, the best thing I can think that could happen for a channel is not that they get like if Casey Neistat were like, hey, check out this channel. Like the worst thing that could happen is that if that happens to you early, because like maybe Casey knows you for something like that, and if you get that bump before your channel is ready for it, it's almost like a death sentence in a very strange way. So that's kind of like my thing is like make a lot of bad videos. I hope that makes sense. I hope that's helpful. I think so though. Here's that question I was looking for. Sean Kelly says, "Hey man, is a Carbon X2 a good tempo shoe? Like, is it good, firm, responsive shoe?" Yeah, it's firm for sure. That ProFly X, like it's not a squishy, soft material. I think it's a great tempo shoe. I like it. I don't know that I would like it for faster than that. Like if I'm going if it's a half marathon race, I might be like, I do have the Carbon Rocket X, or like if I'm primarily a half marathon racer and I'm looking at like if I'm at a shoe store and I'm looking at these two shoes, like the Rocket X and the X2, I might pick up the Rocket X instead of the Carbon X2 if I like half marathons more. But if I'm looking at doing lots of long runs with speed in them, if I'm doing training for lots of marathons, then I think the Carbon X2 is probably the better choice. It's not the fastest shoe. So when you say good, firm, responsive, I think it's good, firm, good, yes, firm, yes, responsive. It is, but the Rocket X is a little bit more responsive. But like if you want tempo, I think the Carbon X2 is a better one. And Mark wants to know, is the Carbon X2 a good shoe to run in regularly for long runs, like 1 or 2 times a week? That's what I got it for as opposed to racing. I think it's going to be very good for that. I think that the Carbon X1 very quickly turned into like, this isn't a racing shoe. This is a good trainer. Kind of like the Fuel Cell TC, the way that people are training that, or like the Zoom Fly. And I think that's a very good way to look at it as well. I still think it's kind of weird to have like a training carbon shoe, but then again, like I've been running in carbon shoes like twice a week for the last couple months. So, or maybe even more than that. So I don't think there's a problem with running in carbon that frequently. And so I think the Carbon X2 makes really great sense for a long run shoe as well. Stevie76 says, does Casey know Kofuzi? He doesn't know me. No, but I keep wondering if like one day I might run into him like at a rest stop when I'm driving to my sister's house in Connecticut, because he's a little bit further down the coastline from where my sister lives. But it's along the same way. If I were driving, say, from New York to my sister's, a lot of that route, it's the same route. So I keep hoping that one day I'll run into him. But I think he's just in LA now or something. So yeah, I don't know. At this point, I'd much rather run into Neve than I would Casey, but that's just me. I'm a big Catfish fan. A huge Catfish. I love that show. Frank says, I feel like the Carbon X1 was a perfectly good shoe for what it was marketed for, which was Road 50K. Yeah, I mean, I used it on a Road 50K. It treated me really well, just because like the pace is a little bit less quick. And so for me, like I would have liked for a Road 50K a squishier or like a softer shoe, but also a shoe that was very smooth was also really nice too. And that's definitely something I enjoyed from it. Martha says, I had the Carbon X1 to do marathon long, slow distance run, but something bothered me. And when I put on the Boston 8s, it was a relief. Something didn't agree with me. Well, I'll say one thing about the Carbon X1 is the shoe was so tight. We're talking about shoes that might not like fit exactly true to size. That was a very snug shoe. And the lacing was super weird. They were really long. And mine would always get untied. I had to triple tie them every time. And even then, sometimes they would get untied. And it did that thing where, you know, like when this happened to a lot. It happened to, I think, a lot of earlier Hokas. Lately, they've been figuring out a little bit more. But it still happens every once in a while where to tie the shoe in my size 9, to get a snug fit, it feels like the material has to like overlap over the tongue, which I always feel like that's a sign that you made the shoe wrong. So it was like, not only was it still super snug, it also still fit like I was wearing a shoe the wrong size. I don't know. It was like, it wasn't 100% right. It was just a little bit weird. Maybe that's what it was for you, Martha. But it did also want you to run in a very specific way. So that could also be it too. CV76 says, I think Casey burned out on daily vlogs. What's your advice? I mean, my advice is if it's burning you out, don't do it, you know? And so like he found a rhythm. And I mean, does he still make videos? I stopped watching him after a while because I was like, this is very infectious in terms of his style and his narrative voice. I mean, everyone was copying him at the height of his popularity as well. And I was like, you know, there's so many people that are going to do Casey better than I could do Casey. So I can't be doing Casey. I got to figure out my own voice. So that was like the main thing for me. So I don't know if he's still making videos or not. But for me, it was like, you know, did he get what he wanted to get out of it? I think he did. Then he did. I mean, I guess once you get that, then you don't need to do it anymore. So, yeah, so there's that. I mean, the other thing is it's kind of like when you're at the top for so long, then what do? You it becomes very difficult. I can imagine it becomes difficult. I don't know. I've never been at the top of anything. So that's my other thought on it. But right now, I mean, one of the things that I did was like, I stopped trying to do it every day. That's great for the people that can do that. Amazing. How Seth continues to do that. Incredible. Sometimes he does 2 or even 3 videos in a day. It's crazy. But do as many as you want, as many as you need to tell the story. See, for me, like me telling fewer stories, like to go like the opposite way, like almost to like, if I go to like a Billy Yang direction where it's like very few videos, but the quality is really good. Me making fewer videos isn't going to make the videos better. Right. And so, just because my attention span is too short, my attention to detail is not there. I lack the discipline to make something great. My sweet spot is pretty good. So that's what I shoot for. And for me, like 5 to 6 videos a week, that's what gets me that. So it kind of maxes my ability to do the thing I like. It gives me something to do every day. But also like, putting more work into one video probably wouldn't make it that much better. But doing more would certainly affect like my enjoyment of it. So I'm finding like my equilibrium of happy. Dr. Funk 1216 says, how does having a law background help you on a day-to-day basis? Do you read all the terms and conditions on the apps you download? It doesn't really help me on a day-to-day basis. I do not read most of the terms on the apps that I download. I usually rely on people to tell me when apps are crazy, like TikTok. Then I won't download those apps. Yeah. So that's kind of how I feel about it. A lot of those times, it's click wrap, you take it or you'll leave it. Right. So like having a law background only lets you know that like, well, maybe some of these terms are unenforceable, but like, yeah, I don't know. I don't really worry about it too much. So, but yeah, on a day-to-day basis, it doesn't really help me out all that much. Teddy Man wants to know, what is your go-to racing shoe outside of Nike? My go-to racing shoe right now is the Adios Pro. That shoe is amazing. Did I say show? I think I said show. That shoe is amazing. I love that one. It's fantastic. I've also been really liking the RC Elite. I just wish that they would make like I guess the TC Elite is the more cushioned version, but I'd like kind of like the TC Elite with the RC Elite upper on it. And maybe the TC Elite outsole too. I just like the I like the RC Elite upper and outsole, but I like the TC Elite, TC regular, just the TC, not Elite, the TC midsole. I'm so confused. All right. I'm going to try this now before we end for today. The Gatorade Endurance strawberry flavor. It does have a little bit of caffeine in it, which clearly I need a little bit to get some focus back because I'm just rambling today. All right. Isn't that bad? A good strawberry flavor. I was thinking it was just going to be super like sweet and medicine-y, but it just kind of tastes like kind of almost just tastes like strawberry jam, which is my favorite flavor of jam. That's good. I like this flavor. I think that this is probably my favorite Gatorade Endurance flavor. This is actually really good. I'm not a huge fan of Gatorade Endurance because I just feel like this is really big, like the packaging for this. Now I know Science and Sport is taller, and the Unived gels that I like are wider, and although they're shorter. This is still just kind of big, so I wouldn't want to run like a marathon with like 5 or 6 of these in my pockets. But I don't know. I don't know what the price on this is. I'm guessing the price per unit is probably pretty good, so it might be something to throw into the mix. I've been eating a lot of Science and Sport lately just because it's relatively cheap, compared to the Unived or the Humachia Plus that those are like kind of my favorites. And of course, against Martin, which is the most expensive one. Those are great, but they're expensive. So I like to eat them on like a regular basis. It gets pricey. So Science and Sport is one I've been eating a lot of. The Gatorade Endurance. I don't know. I'd still probably buy Science and Sport over the Gatorade Endurance, but in a pinch, or maybe just to mix it up. That might not be bad, like over the summer, because it's got a little bit more fluid to it. So not bad. Not bad at all. I mean, we'll see how it makes me feel later. But from a taste perspective, I'm a big fan. It's good. Will Willing says, Seth's really hyped up the Mach 4, but says the Endorphin Speed is a better shoe. I'm surprised that Seth likes the Endorphin Speed, to be honest, just because he's so powerful. Like his like watts per kilogram has got to be like off the chart, insane. So I was like surprised that he's not saying like I'm sorry he's not as excited about the Pro as he is the Endorphin Speed, but you know I love the Endorphin Speed. I think it's like a perfect shoe for me, so I do like that one. And he does like the Mach 4 a lot. He's been talking a lot about it. He's been calling it like shoe of the year since like 3 months ago, because he's had it for a long time, right? So yeah, he does like that one. Ben Y says, everything about getting a drone for B-roll. I have a drone. It's just super annoying to fly. Number one, I think the FAA is just absolutely insane in terms of their desire. What's going on? I can't see. I'll take a look at it later. She's trying to show me how far she's getting in Harry Potter, but there's a glare coming in, so I can't see the screen from here. But yeah, so like I think FAA regulations are crazy. I think I at this point would have to become a licensed pilot to be able to use it in my YouTube videos, because it'd be for a commercial purpose. And I mean, like it's very strange that like I have the DJI Spark, the first. I don't know if there's multiple Sparks, but I have the DJI Spark. But that drone, it's very lightweight, but it can only fly like 300 feet away from me. But that's still under the jurisdiction of the FAA, which I'm like, I think I've seen people on Montrose Hill with kites that have longer strings than that. So it's like very strange that like a kite that can fly higher than this is not under the FAA jurisdiction, but this, because it has propellers on it and it looks like a drone that might have a longer distance, is under the FAA jurisdiction. And there could be substantial fines for me using this in a YouTube video that, you know, might not even have ads monetized on that video. I think I'd still be potentially, I mean, here's where the lottery comes in. I might still be in violation of the FAA rules because the channel is for a commercial purpose, in terms of like just generally making revenue for myself. And so like that just gets super annoying, number one. And like two, to fly anywhere that I run along the lakefront in Chicago, it's all technically against the rules. Technically, anyone that takes a picture anywhere along the lakefront is violating Chicago Park District ordinance. You are not, unless you have a permit, allowed to take any photographs. Selfies all count. There's no like, you know, like photos for personal use, like for example, from a cell phone or exempted. It just says photos without a permit are not allowed. So like, it's a weird rule. They need to update it. It's definitely something that they haven't updated in like 20 years, it appears, but technically that's something that like the park district could be like, you got to take that down now. Do I see people all the time when I'm out there in the morning running, flying drones? Yeah, it happens all the time. Have I done it? Yep. But technically also a potential liability there for me. So like, it just gets really complicated. Then there's a whole aspect of like, all right, if I'm doing it while I'm running, I got to stop, unpack the drone, get it up in the air. The battery only lasts so long, so I might as well get 20 minutes of flying time. So now I've like stopped my run for about 20 minutes, but I've kind of run and shot, you know, running footage while I'm doing it. And then I got to pack it up, and then I'm going to carry it for the rest of the time. I usually carry a second battery so that I can get a second flight from a different location. It just becomes a lot. But I think that like, you know, in Iowa, I never actually ended up bringing it with me. I brought it a couple of times, but I'm always worried that it's going to get attacked by an eagle or a hawk. And the other thing is it just gets really disruptive to the running. And so like, I ended up just like always thinking about it. I always kept it charged, just never brought it with me because it just gets kind of annoying. And I'm like, it's not getting me a ton more than what the 360 camera gets me. The 360 gets me a lot of the views that I want. But like, I would like some more overhead shots or like some really far away shots. Those would be great. But they're harder to film. It just takes a long time. So if I'm trying to get a workout in, it just takes a lot of energy. So that's the main reason why I don't have the drone for B-roll. If we get to the point where the technology is, I can have something in my pack that I can just pick up, throw it up in the air, and it'll follow me. and it can use its own AI to just take a whole bunch of shots, and then I can retrieve it back while I'm running and grab it and keep running. Then I'll get one. I mean, it doesn't have to be quite that advanced, but if it gets to be a lot simpler, and the Spark has some kind of like hand motions you can do to make it to control it without getting your phone out. But at that point, I was like, I'm not even sure if this is recording. This is a lot of effort for I'm not even sure if it's taping me. So it got frustrating real fast. I think if I went on like another running adventure, like I've been talking about, I'd like to do like a city slickers trip, but just with running instead of cattle rustling, then I'd probably bring a drone. But other than that, I'm not that interested in it. And a lot of it, most of it is like the regulations. That's my big thing. So, yeah. Ben Weiss says it's a similar case along the river in London. It's all privately owned, which people don't realize as it looks like a public space, but security can technically ask you to leave for any reason. Yeah. Yeah, it kind of stinks, huh? I didn't know that was all privately owned. So is it just like out of some sort of courtesy, kind of like they made, like for the public good, that they made a lot of those areas runnable or like walkable along like the riverfront? That's interesting. I didn't know that. And Chris says, Mike needs a full-time videographer to handle all those issues. I mean, yeah, that'd be great. I think that's like another thing that I was like, something I've been thinking about is like, I wonder if I can like invite myself to do kind of like a Matt Fitzgerald kind of thing with a team that desperately needs more videography work in exchange for like, not that I would like do the workouts with the pros, but like I will film all their workouts in the mornings, but like give me a place to live, and like maybe the coach can write me a couple of weeks worth of running while I'm at altitude. I mean, if I'm at altitude, I'm pretty useless. The workouts would be easy to write. Go out for 45 minutes and then come back, but kind of like fantasy camp in exchange for like I'll get some drone footage of the pros, and that'd be kind of a fun thing for me to do as well. I'm not sure how to work that out or if anyone would be even interested in it, but I don't know. That'd be kind of cool. I think but basically what I'm saying is it's more likely that I'm the full-time videographer following someone else. That's something that I'd be interested in doing. Chris Tech said, is there a setting on drones that can just follow you around? There is, but like you have to kind of like, a lot of times for the drones that I'm familiar with, you got to turn them on, get them up in the air, and then like turn it on, and like using your phone or the controller, like tell it this is the thing. And usually it's like a drag and kind of thing where you like encircle like the target, and then it'll follow you around. So it can kind of do that, but then yeah, the technology is moving very quickly. And I'm excited about that. But right now it's not ready for me, and what I want to do. I think I love the way that Ryan Doozer does it on his bike adventures. I think on a bike, it really lends itself to it. It's a little bit harder, I think, for running. Just because you have to carry the weight. And it gets a lot too. Recycle on Wednesday says, just get a really tall friend instead. Well, I mean, Ben Parks is pretty tall. He said he wants to come out to the US and go for a run. Andy's pretty tall too, FLD runner. So, they could be my tall friends. Yeah. Josh has Nick Simmons' event with his drones are great. He does have a drone like every week when he's out there, right? Or whatever, every time he's out there. It's pretty cool. Yeah. I do wish though that I were more like, not fluent, but fluid with the drone, that I could be like the guy that rolls up and be like, I have it like in my case and it's like, here it is, and just like pop it open, and then like 30 seconds later it's up in the air. Like I'd like to have that kind of level of familiarity with the technology, but it's so disruptive to my running and my, I don't have like a regular job anymore, but I still have other responsibilities. So it's not like I can like do my run and then go out later in the day and like take other like kind of like fake during the run, in air quotes type of footage, so I don't have time to like, I guess, practice so much with it, which is unfortunate because I do think it's fun. I think the shots are great, but maybe in a couple of years I'll be able to do that, but who knows? Andreas T says, hey, Kovacs, you just got my new Clifton 7s, and I was using the 1080 V10 before. Which one should I use for interval and tempo runs? Which one for long and easy runs? Thanks. Keep it up. I think, I would tend to use the Clifton 7 for your faster runs than the 1080 V10. because I think the Clifton 7 is going to be a lot lighter and a little bit lower to the ground. But yeah, so that's kind of where I put it. But I think though that like to a large degree, I think both of the shoes are somewhat interchangeable, just because that Fresh Foam X and then 1080 V10 is so bouncy. So like it's one of those shoes that has a lot of height underfoot, but it still is a pretty peppy shoe. But I would probably look at using the Clifton 7s for your faster days, and then the 1080 V10 for those longer days and your recovery runs. Yeah, Mark says having to handle a drone as well as run would give him anxiety. Yeah, one time I was running along the lakefront trail, not the lakefront, in a heritage trail in Iowa. It's like a bike trail now. It used to be an old commercial rail line. And one time I had the drone following me like overhead. So it was probably like 15 feet up in the air and following me like at my like 7 o'clock and just shooting me, following me that way. We went under like the canopy along the trail and it ducked down to maybe like 10 feet a little bit to get underneath the tree line. Because I think it sensed that it was too close to the top to hit some trees. And at the same time, a woman was coming by on her bicycle. And I mean, it wasn't that close to hitting her, but it was like coming around a curve, and it's a rail line. So the curves aren't like super tight, but like, I don't think she was expecting me or any other people that day. And then here comes this dude, and then like a buzzing drone like came right overhead. She was like, "What is that?" So she got real mad. And she's completely in the right to be mad at that, because it like happened so fast that I wasn't able to like really, stop and lift it up in the air or bring it down fast enough. So not the greatest choice for me. So that gives me more concern than anything else. Like if I crash the drone, I crash the drone. It's my own fault. But like if I make someone else scared, that is where I feel real bad. Yeah. Sage has a video where he's running with the drone controller as the drone is above him. Yeah, I've done that before and it's fun. And like the trick is to be able to run with it. And it works a little bit easier, I think, when you have an actual drone controller. My DJI Spark, there's a controller you can get for it, but I usually control it with my phone. Is if you can like hit the forward button on the joystick and then run with it, like holding it with like the forward motion pegged, and it's just looking down. So that's the trick. And then you run with it, and if you just run normal, if it's high enough up, you don't really see it. And so that makes it look great. And Sage is pretty good with the drone. He had the drone up when he was out in Chamonix a couple of years ago, getting ready for UTMB, I thought. He crashed it a couple of times too, which was pretty funny. But those are some older videos where he's done that as well. So he's done pretty good with the drone. Yeah. Not really. Hank Aaron says you got to get an RC car with a video camera. They make those. DJI makes those kinds of cars, and they have like very sophisticated suspension systems and the ability to carry significant payload. So they're like, they cost like 4 or 5 figures. They're not cheap. And so they do make that. That's a little bit more. I feel like for that, the technology required to stabilize that shot would make it cost prohibitive for me to use it. That's my thought on that. Yeah, Dr. Funk 1216 says, speaking of drones, has anyone seen signs out on the highway saying speed limit enforced by aircraft? I'm picturing a police drone swooping in and ticketing you. Yeah, I've never understood that. When I was young, I used to think that it was like a little one of those little planes called Cessnas, and I imagined like it was like a cop in those. And then when they wanted to pull you over, they would swoop down and I was like, this road's windy. There's no way that cop's going to get me. This is what I would kind of think. Not me, but like our parents when they were driving. But I'm not sure exactly how that works. I don't know if they're just from the above looking and seeing like how far it takes you to get from point A to point B and doing like just math to figure out what your rate of speed was. And then someone on the ground is ticketing you. Like, I'm not sure how that works, but that's a very strange kind of sign to run into, isn't it? All right. Yeah. Chris says, I live too close to the Miami airport. I can't even turn a drone on. Yeah. That's another thing. Well, I mean, Chicago is in, I think, class where I am. It's in like, I don't know what class airspace it is, but it's technically within restricted airspace of the airport, but the ceiling, under like so many, 1,000 feet is still okay. So it's like it's somewhat restricted because it's close to O'Hare. But it's within it's like several thousand feet, something like that. But the other thing is also where I run, especially the time of day that I run, that's where the news helicopters tend to fly a lot. And so the last thing I'd want to be is on the news because I buzzed the WGN traffic copter, So that's another thing that kind of worries me about flying. Because I don't know, I imagine those news helicopters are keeping in touch with some sort of authority in terms of where they're going. But and I know helicopters aren't supposed to go below 500 feet, which is much higher than my drone can fly. So it should never theoretically become a problem. But I'm very concerned about if I made a helicopter pilot nervous, I would feel incredibly guilty about that. So, drones are hard. They need to become simpler. We got to figure something out, So, all right. I think that's a good place to leave it today. Sorry I rambled on today a lot about drones, but yeah, it's something I haven't talked about in a while. So it was great to kind of talk about it with you guys. Tomorrow's video is going to be a workout video. I did go for my long run today. I'll tell you all about it tomorrow, how the hamstring is doing. If you see the Strava, you saw how it went, but I'll talk about it a little bit more tomorrow. So it'll be kind of bringing you along for the workout tomorrow. Yeah, and then we'll do another live stream, Trivia Tuesday. We'll figure out a Trivia Tuesday topic. I don't know if we'll do breakfast because I still have some breakfast questions I never asked, but we'll figure something out for tomorrow. Same time, 3 p.m. Central Time, Trivia Tuesday. Hopefully I'll see you then. In the meantime, be safe out there, everybody.